everybody, it's Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to Digging Deeper Jazz. Well, today I want to talk about clarity in our improvisations. We're going to use John Coltrane as a shining example. I've also got a couple very cool announcements for you, a giveaway for JazzWire and an upcoming jazz camp. Well, so let's talk about this idea of clarity. Now, I think this is some big confusion here. For a lot of us, jazz is this great, complicated, deep music. And a lot of us, I think, believe that our job is to be as obtuse as possible, as not understandable as possible. And yeah, I know it sounds crazy to say, but we're digging into, cool polyrhythms and great harmonic devices and wonderful, exotic scales and everything to the point where no one knows what the hell we're playing, right? We need some clarity. Now, I don't mean simple and dumbed down and facile. I mean clear. So John Coltrane, one of the greatest improvisers of all time, played with great clarity, even as he was being, pretty advanced and challenging with his harmonic ideas. So we're going to look at something right there. Now, if you're a novice, like kind of new to jazz improvisation, this is going to be perfect because the approach we're going to use. You're going to see right away chord tones and being very clear with our note selection. Now, if you're a pro, if you're a grad student, if you're a semi-pro, and you've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of harmonic knowledge, this is definitely for you because you have to learn how to modulate that, when to use that knowledge. Again, John Coltrane's going to let us know when to do that. We're going to use his amazing solo on Bessie's Blues as an example. Now, I want to let you know about this giveaway, JazzWire.net, the subscription website that I run for adult jazz amateurs and semi-pros all over the world, doing a giveaway. So I want you to send in before October 25th this year, 2020. Just send me a quick email, send it to this address right here, diggingdeeperjazz@gmail.com. Give me your name, the instrument you play, how many years you've been playing, and if there's any topics you'd like me to cover on these videos. And it's just a random drawing, so it doesn't matter if you've been playing for 2 weeks or for 20 years. Send that in, and I would love to get you a membership for 6 months at JazzWire, an evaluation of your playing, a practice plan, and 7-day-a-week input. Send that in for me. Okay, so if you look at the PDF that I have here for you this week, it's the first chorus of John Coltrane's solo on Bessie's Blues. It's off the classic album Crescent. And you got to have this album. It's amazing. And I love this solo. I've used this solo as examples of so many things, actually for other Digging Deeper Jazz videos that I've done. But the clarity with which Coltrane plays. So let me do this. I'm just going to play the first couple choruses of his solo. The first chorus is on the sheet here. I'll just play a little bit more of his solo, and then we're going to talk about it. All right, couple choruses of Coltrane solo. And here's the thing, you should hear him play it. He plays it better than me. He's really good. Yeah, incredible solo. So the first chorus of which I put here, I put it in the key of F. It's in the key of E flat concert. I put it here in F. It's a little simpler to look at, fewer accidentals. So the first thing I want you to notice, is there anything out of the key of the chord changes? Mixolydian scale on each of the 3 chords. Do you see any accidentals, any sharps and flats that take us out of the key? The answer is no. This is totally diatonic from John Coltrane, right? So yes, playing diatonic is allowed. You just have to be compelling as you do it. You have to play with an incredible sound and great time and momentum and intention and all that great stuff, right? So right here, we're seeing clarity of his harmonic and melodic vision. Does he get fancier? Does he play some chord substitutions later in the solo? Yeah, he does. But that is also incredibly clear when he chooses to do it. Cool. Now, let's look at some little bits of this solo, and we can see that he's beyond just rattling around inside the correct scale, how he organizes the notes in the scale. Check out the first couple measures. So we're seeing the highlights of those lines being chord tones, right? The root, the third, the fifth. Seventh works in there too. But how everything's highlighted around those chord tones. There's lots of technique and triplets and ghosted notes and neighbors and things like that. But it's all built around these chord tones. And it continues on like that through the solo. So I really want you to take some time and look at this and see how the 1, 3, 5, mostly just those notes, and then the flat 7, how that figures into this solo. So the clarity of him deciding my palette is going to be the Mixolydian scale or that tonality, right? But he gets deeper than that. You guys know that I'm not big on the scales because of what Coltrane does here, the way he highlights and outlines the arpeggios. And we see it all the way through this chorus. And even through the 5 choruses of this solo, as things get more complicated, he does not leave behind this approach, this clarity. Cool. So now the second item on the sheet, what I did is, I was looking for what's underlying the fanciness of the melody. We do this when we analyze Bach or something like that. There's a lot of movement, but what is the melody that's hiding inside all those 16th notes of a Bach partita or something like that? That's what we're looking for. So let me play for you what I have in this second part. Now, could it be argued that I should add another note or take another note away? Yeah, whatever. But I think you're going to see that this is a really bare bones skeleton of what he's playing. So let me just play the first 4 measures for you, and then let me play what I wrote in the second item for you. So that little simple bit that I played, those last 4 measures, that is what's underlying inside all of the cool ornamentation that he's doing. So simple. And of course, chord tones with this great direction. So that's what I did for the second example on the sheet, is wrote down the bare bones underneath what's going on behind his solo. So we see there's an absolute clarity, an absolute melody that's working. We could play item number 2, that simple thing there, and that would be a fantastic start to a solo. So let's pause there, and what I want to let you know about is Maryland Winter Jazz. Those of you that have been watching these videos for a couple years now, you know that I've been running Maryland Summer Jazz, a workshop in the Washington, D.C. area for 16 years. This last year, because of COVID, we did it online, and it was incredibly powerful. 70 people from around the world attended. And had a blast and asked us to do something else. So we're going to do something this January, 8th through 10th, Maryland Winter Jazz. Of course, it's open to people from around the world because it's going to be online and virtual. We have Mike Stern as a special guest, Miles Davis guitar player. We have Terell Stafford on trumpet and more coming. And we have our core faculty of people like Paul Bolenbach and Frank Russo and Jennifer Krupa and on and on and on. So only 28 spots for this. So get registered. Send me an email if you'd like some more information about it. It's going to be an incredible experience, and there's so much we can get done, so much fun we can have working together. So I hope this is interesting to you. So let me do this. I'm going to play through this example one more time. I'm going to play item number 2 first, just so you can hear that little skeleton. Then I'm going to play Coltrane solo and see if you can hear that clarity, what's underlying it, inside what he played. He fancied it up a little bit, but it was so clear. All right, so that's what I want you to know, is that a great soloist like John Coltrane had clarity. When he added tension later in the solo, that too was extremely clear when he would add the tension, then when he would pivot away from it. It wasn't him trying to be obtuse and difficult to understand the whole time. Were there solos like that John Coltrane played? Of course. And yes, other people too. That would have been their artistic vision in the moment. But if you take 50 or 60 or 80 John Coltrane solos and listen to them, the clarity is what makes us come back to those solos. So that's really the big lesson here. And let me talk to you about one last thing. Look at that, those last couple notes that he plays, two from the end. And he lands on a note that would have been very confusing to me as a younger player. Over that F7, he lands on that B flat, a note that most of us have been coached. That's not a good note to land on or to stress the fourth scale degree. What's going on when he plays that C, B flat on my chart? How does that work over that F7? Why does it sound so good? And the answer is, I don't think he's playing F7 at all. That's what the chord is, but he's thinking already of the 5 chord there. The way I'm thinking about it, he's thinking that that's a C7. He plays the root to the flat 7, creates a tension, and launches off into his next solo. So lots of times when we're analyzing a solo, and we do this a lot inside JazzWire, is when you see a chord and you see a couple notes that somebody played, of course, we're tempted to try to freeze time and analyze it vertically, this chord and this note, and how does that work? But we have to have some sense of context. What's coming next? Where did he come from? Where is she going now? That's important stuff to think about. So in the context of what's going on here, Coltrane, I think, is thinking of a 5 chord there, creating some tension to get into that next chorus. And again, it's clear, right? That note doesn't sound wrong. It sounds for all the world like it needs to be there. So the lesson for today, I'll say the word again, clarity. I'm going to invite you to play with greater clarity. Don't think that you have to be going for more and more complexity all the time. We don't know what you're talking about when everything is so complicated all the time, right? Clarity. How do we get there? By setting a harmonic or melodic palette and chord tones. That's what everything hangs on. Lots of chord tones. Analyze this. Sit and look. Get a cup of coffee. Sit down with this and look at what Coltrane was doing and how amazingly well put together it is, how clear it is. I hope you enjoy it. Check out the album and please enter for the JazzWire giveaway. I would love to be working with you.